like King James. Like King James.
Sounds like it is straight from the motherfucking cassette.
I hate when you get to a point in your career where people feel like they got you figured out and there's no more surprises. I like people to press play on my stuff and still be surprised.
Turn it up, baby. All the ducks necessary, yo. Hey, yo.
One.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Dusttin Bowerman Show. Dusttin with two T's here once again on this Manic Monday. It's fucking Manic Monday. We're back. We're fucking here. February 15th, week 7. What do you mean? It's the Atlanta FaZe hoodie, bro. Come on, dude. Wait, hey, FaZe up. Hey, FaZe up, man. This is the right way. Wait, no. Hey, is it this way or this? Wait, this is the same way, isn't it? Yeah.
I don't
FaZe
know.
up.
You got to combine them together. Yeah.
FaZe up, buddy. FaZe up. Yeah, I don't know, dude. Like, listen, man. It's a FaZe weekend. It was FaZe's weekend. They did really well, you know? They performed. They outperformed expectations. You know what I'm saying? The VALORANT team did well. The Call of Duty team did well. So, you know, everything's shaping up. It's good to be a FaZe fan, you know what I'm saying? It's good to be a FaZe fan. Even though everybody hates them. Good to be in Atlanta. Good to be a FaZe fan. Everybody hates FaZe, though, because, you know, obviously people think they're douchebags. Do you guys think that FaZe is full of... I mean...
it's probably not the best image.
But yeah, listen, man, you got to understand, they're just frat boys, you know what I'm saying? They're young, you know?
That's
Actually,
why
no,
I
they're
like
not.
them.
If I was a part of FaZe, I would absolutely love it. But on the outside, you can't help but notice that they got that image.
It's interesting because for the actual FaZe team itself, like the actual players, they're not really, to be honest, like the Optic team has a lot more coverage of them. You know what I'm saying? Like the Optic team has a lot more coverage. Like the Optic guys are on like a show. I don't know if they're forced to do all that kind of shit, but they're forced to do, like, they're made to do so much content, bro. Like Scump and the Optic guys that are actually on the Call of Duty team are forced to do so much content. It's actually fucking insane, bro. It's actually insane. But welcome to the show, guys. On this Manic Monday, later today at 4 p.m. PST, we're going to have the Washington Justice general manager. And then also we have some interesting topics to talk about. So TSM roasted their own VALORANT team in a Twitter social media post. The Twitter guy was defending himself. He has defended himself. And I think I want to look at both sides here. I want to cover both sides of this topic. I'll tell you why, and I'll tell you some things that have to do with social media and has to do with being a player that can understand, so you can understand the player's perspective on this scenario. Also, Counter-Strike, Olofmeister has officially left FaZe Clan / been dropped. It was like a mixed territory. Cold Zero recently said in an article, he's like, he doesn't want to play Counter-Strike anymore, bro. Like, just... he's done, you know? But he just said himself that he's not done just yet. He apparently said, Olofmeister said he's deciding. He hasn't made a decision yet on if he's retiring from Counter-Strike or not, which, to be honest, is pretty fucking crazy considering I've been an Olofmeister fan for a long time, a Fnatic fan originally. So it kind of stinks to see Olofmeister having to leave FaZe Clan. But it makes sense. This team was not really, you know, doing that well in tournaments and shit. But he popped off in the Blast groups recently. He's done really well. But then at the same time, Kerrigan's coming back into FaZe Clan. Finally, after being dropped 2 years ago, he's back to in-game lead once again for FaZe Clan. He's back once again. We'll see how good they do as well, but I don't really know if they're going to do that well, obviously. Listen, I was a FaZe Clan originally since Nico and Kerrigan and the original crew were around. But to be honest with you, this FaZe group, I don't have too much confidence in them doing that well, honestly. I never do. They always do well at the beginning, and then they drop off. That's kind of how it is with FaZe Clan Counter-Strike. That's just how it is. Also, in Fortnite, Clix has been indefinitely Twitch banned for apparently either leaking his teammates' ass crack or playing copyrighted music. Who knows? Also, NRG's own VALORANT player, Shanks, which has been popping off on social media, he was recently banned from fucking, what was he? He was just banned indefinitely from Twitch 2 days ago or something like that now, and he doesn't have a reason yet. Who knows? Apparently it's hate speech. We'll talk about that later. Hungrybox also has fainted after a match. Anthony will talk about that. And then also we have some unpaid internships going on Team Dignitas once again, which Max will probably go over. And then also we have our guest today, like we mentioned earlier on in the show. But also there was important news before we went live. Also, Team Monkey Business was signed, which is a VALORANT EU roster consisting of former Overwatch players in Tavik, AKM, and Unco. So that's pretty fucking sick to see, boys. That's pretty awesome to see. But we'll start off the day at the very beginning. We'll go back, you know? We'll go back to the top because TSM roasted their own VALORANT team over social media, over Twitter. And to be honest, I was a little bit, upsetty spaghetti about this one, guys. I was a little bit tilted at this situation because basically, so let me write down the situation for you so you guys can get a mental image here. Basically, the picture that they posted on social media was like a meme, right? The social media guy, the TSM social media guy sat there and he found a picture of two guys standing over here, you know, side to side, two buddies, sitting there, and then there was a volcano going off in the background, basically. It was just a picture of them and then a volcano going around in the background like miles and miles away from them. The picture of the two guys had a text over them saying LCS or Team TSM LCS 3-0 weekend. And then in the background, the volcano going off was titled TSM Valorant. So from the outside looking in, that's pretty funny. You know what I mean? From a player's perspective, that's pretty fucking funny. To be honest with you, it's pretty funny as shit. You can show it if possible, Daniel. But basically, I was a little bit tilted at this because as a player, as a former player, like I was like, bro, you're the social media fucker. You know what I'm saying? You're the social media guy. This isn't your territory to roast yourself. Because guess what? You're not roasting yourself, buddy. You're not roasting the social media guy. Ain't roasting himself. He's roasting the Valorant team. You know, there's a difference between roasting yourself and roasting the Valorant team. When you think about it, okay, this tweet is funny. You know, I have nothing against the actual. Like, if this tweet was made by a fan or somebody else, I would fucking laugh my ass off. This is hilarious. And they also posted another image like the previous day of TSM and their LCS team also memeing on them. But, like, I get it. You know what I'm saying? Apparently, G2 does this too. You know, I don't think that makes it really acceptable to me as a player. Okay, listen. This could be me being weak. You know what I'm saying? Being soft, as Derek would say, right? If you guys want to call me soft, you can. You know what I'm saying? Soft. But, like, listen. Soft. As a player, this kind of shit would just be like, this kind of shit would detach you from the social media guy. People are like, oh, maybe they have a healthy relationship. Well, it's like, bro, this TSM Valorant team, you don't understand, guys. This TSM Valorant team, their fucking life is on the line right now. They lost 2 of these qualifiers in a row. They have 1 more to get to the main event. If they don't make it past that main event, I guarantee you most of this team is getting fucking dropped. Most of this TSM team, probably Cutler, probably Hazed, some of the older guys, the Counter-Strike guys, they're fucking done. You know what I'm saying? Their team is probably just going to explode after this if they don't manage to qualify. So their goddamn life is on the fucking line. You know what I'm saying? And meanwhile, this fucking dude on social media twiddling his thumbs probably doesn't have to do jack shit besides tweet on social media, is roasting his team. You know what I'm saying? He's not a part of the fucking team. He's on the social media team. You know what I'm saying? There's a difference. People can say I'm soft or whatever in this situation. I'm okay with that. But listen, as you have to understand the player's perspective here. You have to, and that's what I'm trying to go out of here. I'm understanding it from the player's perspective. And the player's perspective is that the social media guy is a fucking twat for tweeting this. And this is, if my social media guy did it, I guarantee you I wouldn't necessarily be pissed off, but my teammates would be. I guarantee you if the Atlanta Reign team, if the Atlanta Reign staff, the social media team did this, I would be fucking, my teammates would be pissed off. They'd be like, oh my God, dude, this fucker. You know, it's like, okay, sure, you're not being like directly attacked. You're not attacking this guy necessarily. But it would automatically, as a player, make you think lesser of this fucker. You know what I'm saying? Because this guy is literally not playing the game. The social media guy is not actually playing the goddamn video game. He's not actually out there trying to compete against other top professional players for fucking money, for their job, for their livelihoods. This guy's just tweeting on social media for his livelihood. You know what I'm saying? That there's respect there. I understand. There's a little respect there. And I respect the guy. I respect him for putting the balls out there for being able to tweet this shit. But listen, there's a difference between having the balls to tweet something and actually going out there and playing at a competitive game. There's a difference between those two things. If you're tweeting about that shit happening, it's just not the same thing. You know what I mean? It's just not the same thing as actually going out there and competing. And that's my main strife with this, is that it's the players versus social media that the social media guys and the teams and the fans don't understand. You're basically alienating your players. You're basically alienating your social media team from your players. It's just not the same thing. I understand G2 does this. I understand TSM does this. It's part of their brand. It's part of their thing. And I guess if a player, you understand you're going to a team that's going to roast you like this, then I get it. You know what I'm saying? I understand. I think it's a good roast. Listen, I understand I'm being soft here. But I'm looking out for the players in this situation, okay? That's the point I need to drive home, is that I'm looking at it from the player's perspective. From the player's perspective, this is absolutely fucking stupid, you know? It's like, okay, bro, you're not the one out there playing a goddamn match in this current situation, and you guys are just going from a distance. You're acting like you're roasting yourself, but you're not. You're roasting other people in your own organization, putting them on blast for all of social media to see when they're probably already getting enough ridicule. Now their own team is on top of them, giving them ridicule. You know what I'm saying? It's just compiling and compiling and compiling. Imagine if TSM loses, bro. Imagine if TSM loses their next fucking tournament, bro. I swear to God, it's going to happen, bro. They might lose their next tournament. I don't know, bro.
You're going to blame this meme?
I'm going to blame the meme. You know, that's that's just extra salt into the fucking wound, dude. You know,
I'm gonna be honest with you. I think you're being way too soft here right now.
Listen, I'm okay.
It's just
with
a meme, dude.
It is just a
This
meme.
guy's doing his job. This guy, his only job is to post memes on the TSM account, and I think it's a really good meme.
I think it's a good meme, but I don't think he needs to shit on his own team.
Yeah, exactly. I agree with Anthony here. I don't think he needs to shit on his own fucking team for this, bro. Like, he's just doing this for clicks, you know? And that's even more
exactly.
apparent.
That's his team. That's his job, and he's doing his job better than the Valorant team.
Hey, well played to him.
You're not wrong.
Listen, but look at it from this perspective. Hey, well played for the social media guy. He got his clicks. Guess what? He also lost all respect from his fucking team. You know what I'm saying? He also lost all respect from his players. I mean, I guess if the guy wants to live with that, I understand. If the social media guy wants to live with losing all respect from your team, then hey, hats off to you, my good sir. You got your clicks, you know? Congratulations.
He's still in good with the LCS team.
Hey, true.
I don't know, dude. Like, sure he is still in good, but he's still roasted them to some degree. They're also, to be fair, their LCS team has been wildly inconsistent since losing Bjergsen and double lift and stuff, right?
The LCS team has kind of shit the bed ever since they lost their big two players. I don't even know the other players.
What I mean, it makes sense. It makes sense, you know. But like, I guess the only reason I am pissed off in this scenario for the players is just because of the fact that they're literally like, if they lose this next tournament, if they lose this next qualifier, they're done. Like, I guarantee you, everybody but Wardell is on the hot seat. You know what I'm saying? Everybody but Wardell was on the hot seat most likely because Wardell was popping off, but this team as a whole was not competing at a high level. You know, so that's the only reason I'm kind of like shaky on this scenario because if they lose, woo, buddy, you know, their players are fucked. You know, it's just like they're done probably, and that to me kind of speaks to the human aspect. And I'm like, come on, man, you're the social media manager. You have no right to comment on the scenario. Like, sure, you could do it for the memes, get your clicks, whatever, but you're losing all respect for me as a player, you know? I'm not going to have any respect for the TSM Twitter, for the TSM organization for roasting me as a player in this situation. You know what I mean? And sure, that's being soft, you know? But these guys' lives on the line right now. Like, I don't know.
I guess I do want to know, like, where was this meme last week when they went, like, 1 and 2, like, in the LCS department?
I don't know. Yeah, well, no, okay, that's what it is. That's what they did. That's what they did. They were like, it was like a meme where they were like in the background where it's like TSM flopping over to the finish line or something like that. There was another meme basically. So they roasted their LCS team too. But that just speaks to me in that they're okay that this social media guy is blatantly roasting everybody. And like, I guess I can understand that. That's like, okay, that's just what he does. You know what I mean? That's what he does. But he's not going to bode over well with everybody. You know, that's the point I need to drive home is that this shit is not going to.
If you can make fun of everyone, then.
Yeah, but then you're the one.
Clicks.
But then you're a clown, you know what I'm saying? Then you're like me. Then you stoop down to my level. Then you're just a fucking clown. You know what I mean? TSM Twitter being a clown Twitter. Okay, fine. They're a fucking
like
clown.
Clowns.
People like clowns, I guess. You know, whatever. You know what I'm saying? I guess it's a similar situation for me, so I can't roast this social media guy that much, I guess. You know, if he's a clown, I'm a clown. You know what I mean? That's fine. You know, but guess what? The difference between me and this guy is I'm not representing an organization. And this is just me on my own fucking show. You know what I'm saying? I can be a clown on my own show. Guess what? I'm not getting paid a salary by a fucking team to represent them. You know what I mean? I'm not getting paid to represent an organization. Guess what? That social media guy, if I was playing for TSM, that guy doesn't represent me. That fucker doesn't represent me. That guy's just a social media dude. So it's like, okay, I'm under this organization and this banner, and they're roasting me and they don't represent me. So what's the point of me playing for this organization if they're not actually looking out for my best, you know, my self-interest, you know? I don't know. This is definitely me being soft in the situation. I'm just trying to be tilted for the players because I guarantee you they're probably, at least one of them is not happy with this, you know? I mean, I'm just playing devil's advocate.
As a player?
No, I mean, yeah, especially in this, I think context matters. And in this context, they're literally, if they lose this next shit, they're done. Like, seriously, they're fucked. They're done.
I mean,
I don't know.
I'd like to poke fun at Sub Rosa anyway.
Oh, his Raze ults? Oh, poor guy,
has
dude.
Has he killed anyone with his any ults?
The TSM guys, at least.
He's not looking so hot.
So I guess, so to look at the other side, you know, like, I'm glad you're bringing it up, Anthony, because, you know, looking at the other side, like, the TSM players all are very good about, like, being self-aware, at least. Like, they're all pretty self-aware, and they all like to make beams and stuff like that. But I guess there comes a point where it's like, okay, the memes are done, and you're fucking probably out of TSM at that point, you know? It's like, that's the part that's concerning to me. personally. But speaking about somebody that's leaving a organization / team, Olafmeister is officially stepping away from FaZe Clan. He's officially stepping away in Counter-Strike from FaZe Clan, and Kerrigan is coming in. Kerrigan is coming in. This whole scenario is kind of interesting to me because of the fact that Olafmeister is a legendary player and was signed pretty much not necessarily past his peak, but yeah, I mean, kind of past his peak at that point when he got signed for FaZe Clan. And he was touted to come back and make a revitalization of his career. And he hasn't played necessarily bad, this entire time. It's not like he's necessarily played terrible. They've had a bunch of mistakes. They've had a bunch of changes. They've had their own issues over this entire time, besides just Olafmeister. But FaZe Clan has never been able to find that fucking mojo. They were so close. They were so close to winning as a major, and they choked it. They choked it versus Cloud9 in the major and didn't manage to follow up and didn't manage to win. You know what I'm saying? However, that's nothing to diss against Olafmeister's career, nothing to diss against FaZe Clan. It just stinks to watch this happen. It just stinks to watch that because Olafmeister is an absolutely legendary player in Counter-Strike as a whole. He's an absolute legendary player. And there's a rumor that he's retiring. There's a rumor that he's done. But because Coldzera said, he doesn't like playing the game anymore. Oh my God, he's pretty much done. But Olafmeister himself has said that he's still deciding on retirement or not. He said it's in his mind. It's in his mind, but that doesn't mean that he's necessarily going to retire yet. I imagine he's looking at all his options. I'm sure he'd have a fruitful streaming career if he decided to go stream. He's an interesting guy. He's very funny. Honestly, one of the biggest personalities even in Counter-Strike, to be honest with you. But it stinks, bro. It stinks. I think everybody remembers him for his Olafmeister boost, of course, but that's not even something that I can really bring up because whenever somebody brings that up personally, as a Counter-Strike fan, I'd be like, oh my God, this guy's bringing up the fucking Olafmeister boost again, bro. Jesus, fuck. Come on, dude. We've heard this shit a billion times. Stop talking about this, But he joined FaZe Clan pretty much past his peak of his career. And everyone thought he was, not doing too hot, since coming in. Or not, rather not that. I mean, just like people realize that he's past his peak, past his pinnacle, and it's just time to move on. But FaZe has kind of been that team to just sign star player, star player, star player. That's all they do is sign star players, And this team is also bringing back somebody that can revitalize star players' careers. So it kind of stinks to not see Kerrigan and Olafmeister not playing the same team. But Kerrigan's back. Kerrigan's back for FaZe. He's finally back for the FaZe team, and he's finally here to kind of come back. But guess what? This is 2 years after he was dropped. He was already considered old since coming into this team previously 2 years ago. He was already considered old since then, and now he's back in this team. I just don't know if FaZe will ever do that well, to be honest. He's already 30 years old, brother. This guy's 30 years old. He's ancient. He's fucking ancient. You know what I'm saying? This guy's old as goddamn dirt. And they released him because they thought he was already old and not really mechanically skilled anymore. They're bringing him back finally. But is it too little, too late? Is it too little? The current lineup right now is Rain, Coldzera, Brokey, Twist, and Kerrigan. They have the star power, right? They have the star power. But this happens every time, it seems, to me, from like my personal fan perspective, in a Kerrigan team. He'll show promise. He'll do well with the team. Whatever. But over time, the star players get tired with him. Everybody gets tired with Kerrigan over time because they don't see him on the scoreboard, because they don't see his tangible results on the scoreboard. Kerrigan brings a lot of intangibles, leadership, strategy, a lot of these different things. Kerrigan brings these to a team, right? But the problem is, that people get tired with him. I guarantee you, a year from now, this FaZe team will probably be tired of Kerrigan. That's just kind of what happens with him and his rosters. Happened with Mouse, happened with FaZe. Happened with pretty much every other team he's played on. They get tired with him not being impactful in the in-game in the server. And that's just kind of how it is, and that's how it happens over time. Is that Kerrigan brings these intangibles. However, these intangibles don't last very long, it seems, in these teams. And listen, I love Kerrigan. I think he's an awesome player, awesome mind, awesome personality in the scene, and all this kind of stuff. However, the problem is that these star players in this team of FaZe, I don't see them lasting very long with this guy, bro. I just don't. He was literally cut 2 years ago from this team. Now, granted, it's not the same exact team as it was 2 years ago, besides Rain. But it's crazy, They have a good roster. Twist is a really talented player. Coldzera is also really talented. Rain's really talented. People are sleeping on Brocky a little bit. I think Brocky's pretty talented, but people are still sleeping on him. So he has the firepower there. but is it enough to win you a major? Is Kerrigan going to bring you to a major, and is he going to actually carry you through to a major win? For the most part, people say no. People say no, Kerrigan won't do that for you. Kerrigan won't be able to bring you to a top. Kerrigan won't be able to win you a major. And unfortunately, that might just be the case for this team. You know, they lost Olafmeister. They've lost pretty much half their roster in the past 2 years. They lost pretty much everybody. And this FaZe team is continually hyped up and hyped up and hyped up and hyped up. But it will never be able to win a major, it seems. Honestly, like I recently lost faith in them. I have to admit, I recently lost faith in FaZe as a Counter-Strike team. But I was a fan of them for a long time, since Nico, since all of them. You know, like I've been a fan of this FaZe team for a long time. Ever since they kind of moved on to past the meme phase of FaZe in the very beginnings, you know, back in like 2015 or whatever, 2016. I don't remember the exact dates. But it stinks because this team is not the same team as it once was, you know? They lost Nico. And even though Nico, people say, oh, he has too big of an ego, you know? I think Nico is one of my favorite players of all time. It made him, personally, it made me a fan of FaZe. And now that he's gone out of FaZe, I can't say that I'm really a big of a FaZe Clan fan anymore in Counter-Strike specifically. But speaking of which, I actually want to go over the tournament updates over the past weekend, guys, real fast. I do want to touch over the tournaments because FaZe actually had a pretty good weekend overall. In Blast, they did well, or they lost, but to Navi, to Liquid, but he still played well. Olafmeister played well, and then in the tournament updates, COD League specifically, LA FaZe destroyed the New York Subliners 3-0. Seattle Surge beat the Royal Ravens 3-2. Parasite also showed his ass crack as well in that whole scene. Speaking of ass cracks, that's our next topic. Probably we'll talk about that soon. The Rocker beat Dallas Empire after Dallas jinxed themselves on Twitter. Again, with these social media teams absolutely fucking over their players. Dallas Empire, before the tournament, tweeted saying, look, FaZe versus Optic, and we have to play against Rocker. Oh, that's so... Yawn, Resident Sleeper. You know, that's such a boring matchup. Well, guess what? They fucking lost. They lost to the Minnesota Rocker 3-2 in a close fashion and kind of clowned themselves in this situation. They talked shit before it happened, and boom, they got hit back by Major Maniac and Priesta and the X-FaZe guys. They're fucking popping off on the Minnesota Rocker. I'm happy for those guys. I would love to interview either Priesta or Major Maniac. I'll try to get them on the show. Because to be honest, I think Major Maniac's a really awesome guy, nice guy. He reminds me of like an older version of me almost. Maybe we'll have him on the show. But Optics S&D, Search and Destroy, for people that don't know, is not looking that good. They're not looking that good. Fucking Scumpy dropped a donut. He dropped the donut. People were roasting Scump. People were saying, oh, he dropped a 0. He got 0 kills, you know? That's not that great in itself, to be honest with you. But like FaZe beat Chicago 3-2. And their S&D is not looking good. Optics S&D's not. But FaZe's S&D's always looked pretty damn solid. So to be honest, we can't really roast them too hard. Chicago too hard. But they look pretty sloppy on S&D, to be honest with you. And then in Valorant, TSM lost to Dignitas, like we mentioned earlier. And FaZe beat BBG, built by gamers, in a close and scrappy series to qualify for the main event. So they finally made it. And also I watched Sideshow and then watched that game in Valorant. I watched them play that match, and they were roasting it the whole time. I feel like people don't really like watching the Stinger Frenzy meta. You know, who would have thunk people don't like watching Stinger Frenzy meta? Who would have thunk it? I went into Team Liquid's coach's stream because he was also watching the tournament, and he mentioned, he's like, oh man, the Stinger Frenzy meta is fucking stupid. It's goddamn stupid. He's like, they need to nerf fucking Bucky. They need to nerf the Frenzy. They need to nerf the fucking... Whether it's with money, whether it's whatever, they need to nerf some of these weapons because, to be honest with you, price range-wise, the Stinger is a little bit ridiculous. And the run-and-gun meta that we are at now is also a little bit ridiculous. But honestly, guys, once I'm starting to realize this now, listen, because I haven't played the game. I took a break from Valorant. Well, real quick, let me touch on the rest of these matches, then I'll go on what I'm talking about. 100 Thieves beat Ambox to qualify. Envy beat Renegades to qualify. And a few other events were also happening in esports. TSM won in the LCS over the weekend. To be honest, I'll try to touch on League a little bit more as we learn more about it. But to be honest, I'm not really... That League isn't my expertise, you know what I'm saying? So I can't really touch too much on it. But maybe I'll try it going more and more in the future as we learn. But in Valorant, this run and gun meta is kind of interesting because I think I'm realizing, like, the more I play the game and the more I try to get good at the game, because I haven't played in months. Like, I stopped playing about a few months ago when I was like Diamond 3 because I was like, okay, this is too much work while I'm in Overwatch League to be able to get to Immortal right now. Like, I'm not going to do it, you know? Like, I need to take a break from competing, first of all. And second of all, I'm D3 in Valorant, but I'm also competing in Overwatch League right now. Like, I can't commit this time to this game. because people are going to surpass me. So now that I kind of have more time besides the show, I'm trying to play Valorant once again. You know what I'm saying? I'm playing ranked once again. And yeah, like as Daniel puts in the comments below, like I take games seriously. You know what I'm saying? Like I try to relax. Whenever I can play competitive games, I try. I don't know if people can relate to this, but I try to relax. I try to have a good time competing and playing. But like I just play my best when I'm angry. You know what I'm saying? I just do. Like I play my best when I'm, you know, not entertaining, not fun, very salty man. Because if you ever went to my Twitch streams, if you ever go to my Twitch streams and watch me play Valorant, whenever I'm like relaxing and I'm having fun, I'm playing worse. You know what I'm saying? I'm playing worse. That's just how it is. I play worse when I do that. But then I take it seriously, and then I start trying. I get in the gamer position. You know what I'm saying? I get into fucking the gamer position, and then I start fucking playing well. You know, it's like, okay, what the hell is the difference here? The difference is that I'm more engaged and I'm more into the game, but also I'm trying to learn that run and gun thing that you have to do because people say the netcode's fucked up. So it still looks like when people in Valorant, when they die to somebody running and gunning, they're like, oh my God, what the fuck, man? I just died to a run and gun. You know, what the hell? But it's like, no, they actually stopped, you know? They actually stopped, but the netcode's so bad that it looks like the character model is still running by the time it stops. You know what I'm saying? So like somebody's running, but like it looks like they're running, but they're actually stopped. So that's where you get the running gun shot. But you have perfect accuracy after doing the counter strafe, basically back to your shot. And all you have to do is really hit the shot. So people like are mad at, you know, people that are running and gunning them. But really, it's just kind of poor net code that leads to that, I suppose. I don't know where we're going with that, pretty much, but that's kind of the situation. What happened there? Yeah.
Yeah. What was that about ass crack?
Oh yeah, we mentioned ass crack earlier, man. We talked about the butt cracks. That Parasite. So Parasite in Call of Duty, he was like, he lost the series. I don't know if this is when he lost the series or it was mid-match or something. But you could see him like run away from his monitor, and you could see his ass crack basically. You know?
Oh no.
You can see his ass crack. It's happened to him before. Yeah, but why do you bring it up, Max?
Oh yeah. Speaking of ass crack, we got something that Anthony would enjoy.
Oh yeah.
Fortnite pro Clix has been banned from Twitch. This is his third ban, and he's like one of the main Twitch pro or the Fortnite pros on Twitch. He like the day of his ban, he had like 110,000 viewers concurrently. But then later that day, he got banned, and we don't for certain know what it is. But someone pointed out that in his stream, he showed his teammate Ron's ass crack on stream. And that gave him an indefinite ban. Now, people are also saying that he also had, like, his previous bans were also from like DMCA or whatever, the copyrighted music, stuff like that. People are saying that it's just that it's not about the butt, but a lot of people are saying it's about the butt.
It could be, bro.
Who knows?
Well, because his teammate's underage, right? Or the guy he shows ass crack was underage too. So it's like, yeah. So people are like, oh my God, you know, is this really fucking, I don't know, dude. Like, come on, man. Like, it's pretty yikers. You know what I'm saying? Like, this could actually be more than just the DMCAs. It could be the DMCAs. That's a, Reddit is speculating that it is the DMCAs instead of the ass crack, right? Like, it's, people are thinking.
Some people are saying.
Yeah, people are thinking it's going to be that instead, but I don't know.
I know it's still Twitch, not looking good. You can't go showing on someone's ass crack.
No, just don't do that. You know what I'm saying? Don't show ass crack. Oh, wait, speaking of which, speaking of ass cracks, I have something I want to get if you guys want to talk about this real quick. You know what I'm saying? Because it's Manic Monday. I have a big surprise that I can go get.
Crack.
Can I go grab it? Can you guys carry the show? I go grab it?
Yeah,
She's in the other room. I got to go grab it. No, wait. Don't talk about Hungrybox yet. Keep talking about ass cracks. Okay? Keep talking. I got to go get this.
What are we supposed to talk about regarding ass? What?
What's your favorite ass crack?
No, what I mean with the guy who's like, he's like just sitting there and someone's like ass crack. There's, I think it was he used to do it a lot when it was
that was
like card game conventions, card game tournaments, probably Magic. Yeah,
that was famous.
Bro, look at this.
He did that a lot.
Guys, I got the G2 underwear. Look, dude. It's the G2 underwear, bro.
But you got the female one.
I got the thong. I got the fucking thong,
dear.
dude. Yeah.
Well, turn around then.
No, I'm not turning around, bro. Fuck you.
Turn around.
Yeah?
You got pants on.
Twerk.
That ain't a thong.
I'm disgusted.
It's
I
the
never
fucking
wanted to see this.
bro. It's the G2 underwear. I got
My
it.
poor fucking eyes.
We
Oh,
got
you
the
paid
G2
$20
underwear, bro.
for this.
I know it's
Oh my.
$25. This was it was. I'm not gonna lie, it's a little overpriced. You know what I'm saying? It's a little overpriced, but speaking about ass crack, I had to grab it. You know, I had to grab my G2 underwear that I bought overpriced because Carlos doesn't love me like he loves Jakey. You know, Carlos doesn't love me. He loves the other guys. You know what I'm saying on YouTube. But listen, I got the underwear. I got the
Wow.
wait. I have an
Actually
idea.
got the underwear.
I got the underwear.
No.
Oh boy.
I got a do-rag now, bro. Look at me. Bro, it kind of looks like a, listen, it's Manic Monday. You know what I'm saying? It's Manic Monday. I have to, give me a break. Give me a fucking break here, you know? Give me
And you wouldn't get the Liquid Naruto t-shirt, but you
Well,
would get this.
No, I probably would get that. I gotta tie my do-rag. Give me a second.
This fucking guy.
Wait, am I allowed to wear a do-rag or is this, like, offensive?
I don't fucking know.
Yeah, I need
It's
people
just
to,
a hat, right?
it's just a hat, but I don't think a little Jewish boy like me is supposed to be wearing a do-rag.
Meh.
I
Who
want
really
you to
cares
go back
anyway?
to like the Superman mode, just putting the underwear outside.
What, like Floyd, like flop? What do you mean?
The way you were wearing it outside your pants.
Dude, wait, what if I wear it as like a garment, like a chest garment? You know what I'm saying? Like, what if I wear it like this? Like a, you know?
Oh, don't stretch it out. That's premium.
Dude, it's like I'm like Tarzan now, almost. Dude, it's like a sports bra. It doubles down as a sports bra. Look at this. Holy shit. Look at that.
Oh,
Are you guys not
feel
impressed with
supported?
me?
I don't,
I feel like I'm
even
getting-
know what to say, man.
I feel like I'm getting choked out right now, bro. All right, anyway.
Yeah. So yeah.
what was
this
that about
This band
Hungrybox?
came after.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, this band came after right after he his dream team in FNCS won the first week qualifiers. So.
Oh
you know,
really?
It's a big band.
Why are you looking at me like that, Anthony?
I don't.
What?
Does YouTube have a TOS?
I didn't break TOS there. There's no way I broke.
That's
There's
true.
no way I broke TOS.
I mean, you're probably right. I'd still rather you didn't.
What do you mean?
We're just upset with your decisions.
I always am. Let's be honest.
Dude, now you can call me a panty sniffer, dude, because I brought these, bro. I like
Is
wearing
that
these as a
your-
hat. It's like kind of
is that
it's kind of a
your,
cool hat.
The first set of panties you ever bought?
Actually, yes, I've never bought panties before in my entire life, and now we have.
I can't say I have either. I don't.
Now we
I
have
don't really have
G2s.
any need for them.
I will put them right here though. I'll stop wearing. I guarantee we're probably pissing people off for that. But listen, I don't care because listen, we're here to represent G2. You know what I'm saying? I'm here to get Carlos's attention with my G2 underwear. You know what I'm saying? Anyway, Max, Anthony, what did you have about Hungrybox? You said earlier today.
Yeah. Anyway. Hungrybox fainted after his match, where he popped off so fucking hard that he fainted while streaming live. He was
Oh my God.
just screaming, "Fuck yeah, motherfucker!" And in the middle of his motherfucker, he just started like his eyes rolled and he just like fell to the side.
Bro, you
and
need
just
to
passed out.
You need to replicate what he was saying though, like the exact words.
No,
he was like,
no. I don't think I'm going to say it.
well, no, he was like, but like he was like screaming his ass off, bro. He's like, "Fuck yeah!" Like
Yeah,
he was
Did
going
you like
crazy.
faint as well?
Yeah,
He was going fucking
yelling.
crazy. Like he was
It's-
yelling.
You look it up. It's volume warning. Make sure you turn it down first. It's pretty loud.
Yeah.
But yeah, he got 3-0'd against. So to reset the grand finals, and then
Oh, shit.
he just SD'd on the last stock of that, and he was like, all right, I'll just reset it faster. But he also went back to 3-0 him right after that. It was good. So like right after that, he just started screaming, and for like 6 seconds straight of just screaming, he just fucking falls to the side. Pretty great to watch.
I've never seen that before. I've never seen that before.
He screamed too much. I think so. He was just like sitting there, might have been like holding his breath. He's clutching, right? So he's gotta focus.
Yeah.
So he starts screaming right after that for like 6 seconds to like 10 seconds straight. It's probably not good. He's probably like out of breath. He's out of oxygen or something. He just falls over. He faints.
Yeah.
But he told his fans he's gonna go to the doctors, make sure he's all good.
That's concerning, bro.
It's got to be safe. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
definitely not great.
Well,
But I mean,
his chat was like laughing at him too, right?
wouldn't you be? I was laughing.
I was
But you wouldn't
concerned, bro.
expect that.
I was fucking concerned for him,
Bro,
dude.
I thought it was a bit. Like at
You
first,
thought it was a bit?
I thought he was doing a thing.
Oh,
I mean,
well, that,
this is why I don't like watching Hungrybox, right? Is because he always overreacts, and he always screams. So
Yeah, like,
like
we were-
he's always doing something funky.
Yeah,
Or
he's
just like I
talking
don't
before
think it's
the
funny to
show.
watch.
About how he broke his foot after a stage.
No, yeah, like he fucking broke his toe or something when he kicked the chair when he was popping off the floor. Like this guy is I don't like him for pretty much these reasons.
bro, I like him because of those reasons, dude.
I'm,
He's
I'm
fucking-
that's fair.
He's just
I-
kind of like, dude.
I think it's
screaming,
depending
bro.
on who does it. Like I think it
Yeah.
would be way funnier if someone like Me Too King did it.
Yeah,
But
that's 'cause
I
he's
think I
like
just
quiet.
I think I
Expect
just
him to
hate
do that, though.
Hungrybox. I think that's pretty much it. Like I just hate the player. Like
oh my god.
I still hope for the best for him health wise, but I still
Yeah.
hate watching him play.
Bro, he's crazy, bro. Painting him. So he was like because you said that this happens to voice actors too, right? Or we were talking about before the show. This happens to voice actors too.
Yeah, there's I specifically the Goku voice actor. I remember reading about they like padded his voice acting area because he would
Yeah,
faint
yeah.
sometimes when doing the scream. So now if he faints it, he just he'd be safe. It's fine.
So that's the one where he's just like yelling there for like 20 seconds or 30 seconds straight, right?
Yep.
Oh, you better had some insurance for that job.
Bro,
Like,
fuck, man.
Have you ever played Nier Automata?
Oh
No,
yeah,
no.
it's a good game.
There's
never
like a
played.
character in 9S, and there's some scenes where he screams like that. And the American voice actor, he like talked about it before, where like he was coughing up blood after
What?
he was doing his job
Oh my god,
because he
dude.
screamed so much.
Well, if we learn anything from this H-Box stage, dude, just don't scream, dude. Don't yell. Just be quiet, Just fucking just sit there and be quiet.
Protect
Unless
your
you
neck.
have unless you have the oxygen to do so. You know what I'm saying? Unless you have the oxygen to do so, dude. Like you're like, take a deep breath before you do it or whatever, just like breathe. You got to actually get oxygen to your brain because otherwise you're going to end up fucking unconscious
Passing
on the
out.
floor. That's like
Well, you
when
were just-
what?
You were just talking about before how you got to get into gamer mode, and you
Yeah, but I
go
don't
better
yell.
with
I just
that.
get salty. I just get salty, bro. I just turn into like a salty person. Like it's just not like yelling. Like yelling is entertaining to me, Like seeing somebody yell is entertaining, but like seeing somebody salty is just kind of ew. It's like, bro, like just gross, bro. That's just gross, I don't know. Like, but you can get seriously injured passing out, bro. Like seriously, you could die.
Yeah,
You
can.
They talk about that in like I remember. You guys remember in like middle school when they would like tell you just not to like get into fights, pretty much, right? Because or like run in the halls because there was a story about a fucking kid that was running in the goddamn halls by our. Remember Officer Do?
I
We had this.
remember him. I don't remember anyone passing out. I don't remember any
So
stories.
So Officer Do had a story where this officer in middle school had a story where he was like, okay, you don't run in the cafeteria, don't run, you just walk because there was a kid. No, it was Kid Zone. Remember, it wasn't Officer Do. Okay, it was in Kid Zone. It was like elementary school. So there's a story when I was in like when they're in this like this area where they put kids basically when parents have to go to work or whatever. So they put me in Kid Zone, and in Kid Zone they basically explained to us is like don't run because if you run you could potentially slip like this other kid did, hit his head on a fucking table and die. It's like that could happen to you. You could fucking just slip and die instantly because he slipped, he went unconscious or whatever after hitting his head on the table, and then he hit his head again. And there's stories as well in middle school where people get into a fight, remember, where a kid got punched, knocked out. I think this one was told by Officer in middle school, where a kid got punched, he got knocked out, and then the kid actually hit his head on the sidewalk after he got knocked out, and then died that way. Human body's fucking like fucking vulnerable, bro. I think there was a like how we're designed as humans. It's like people like the body's kind of interesting because we're actually. Then people like describe. I think we talked about this before. Is like the human body's pretty delicate, right? Like design wise,
it's stupidly durable and also stupidly delicate.
Yeah, because
the
like
same
design wise, we're not even like very like we have a pretty like in terms of fighting like manpower to manpower, we're pretty weak, right? Like humans, like even the top human could not beat like a gorilla in like a 1v1 like punch off or whatever, right? Like physically,
Bro,
we're
have you
not
seen
that strong.
gorillas? Have you seen jacked gorillas?
I know.
I would never
That's
even
what I mean.
try.
They got testosterone fucking in their goddamn brains. You know, it's like,
is this Joe Rogan now?
well,
Yes.
We're gonna talk about monkeys.
wait, listen. At this point, we have to go return to monkey. You know, it's like, I'm just kidding. Yeah, gorillas don't even lift, bro. No, it's like the problem is that like human beings are just kind of like weak little animals. We're just smart, you know. Even the dumbest of us, like me, are smart. You know, it's like compared to monkeys. Like we can set up a trap. You know, we can fucking do whatever. You know, we could just shoot them. Honestly, probably the number one key to kill. Like look at Harambe. He fucking died to a human that outsmarted him. They put him in a cage and they fucking murdered his brain. You know, like that happens. You know what I'm saying? That's how smart humans are. We could just take a harmless little monkey in the fucking in a prison that's trying to just grab a little human being, you know? I don't know. Anyway, that topic fucking divulged. Just Manic Monday, okay? Give us a break. It's easy for it's Manic Monday. That means that topics are not going to stay on the same page for too long, okay? That's just how it fucking works here, you know?
It works.
Yeah.
That's how it fucking
I still don't
works.
like Hungrybox, but you know.
I do. I like Hungrybox. We can have our opinions there. We differ here in this situation. That's the beauty of this show. You know, we can differ and still hate each other. You know, that's the situation we're in. Exactly.
Yep.
But we wish for his health, nonetheless.
Yeah, bro. Like he could pass out and break his fucking skull open. That's fucking scary, dude. That's scary.
Well, in other news, there's reports that Team Dignitas doesn't pay interns. So basically, Dignitas had tweeted that they were looking for an intern position for their League of Legends team. Basically, it's like a player manager intern. And they were looking for some college kids with like 15 to 20 hours of spare time a week. And they basically said it's not going to be paid. And they got like super hated on Twitter. And basically they had to remove that tweet immediately because one, some people were saying it's illegal in California for something like this to be unpaid. And they were just getting a lot of hate. And then afterwards, they had to like go back and explain like, oh, it was just an error. We actually do pay our interns, and we promise to never have a unpaid internship again. And I don't know, that brings up the question: how often do these things happen in the esports industry? Like we know we talk a lot about how players get paid a lot of money, but there's like a lot of other staff in the industry. Like, do you see this a lot where they don't get paid at all?
I mean, yes. So interesting point, Max, because I think on the same topic, I think Thorin, the guest we had on last week, was talking about how, I think we had him on Thursday, right? Or was it Friday? We had him on last week, but he tweeted how interns, I think, like, he was like, oh, it's okay to be unpaid. You know what I mean? Like, it's not that big of a deal to be unpaid as an intern. Like, there's a whole debate here that, like, I don't really have a side on necessarily, and I don't think we should take a side on because it's kind of like there's two sides to everything, in my opinion. Like, both sides are right in some regard. You know what I mean? Like, one side saying interns shouldn't be paid. You know, they need that experience. You know, if you can go find another job or you can go be valuable to somebody else is what Thorin was saying. So Thorin's argument was that you can go, if you bring value to an organization, you'll get paid for that. You'll get paid equal to your value. If you don't actually bring value and you're just trying to learn and bring experience and get experience, then you shouldn't get paid, is what he's saying. And then the rebuttal to that and the replies is like, why are you getting an intern if you can't afford one, right? Like, that's the other rebuttal, is like, why even get an intern if you can't even afford to pay them? You know what I'm saying? So nowadays, I don't really know where I stand in this whole meta. I think it depends, you know? Like, I think unpaid internships are a thing, and paid internships are a thing. You know, it depends. Like, if you're working, like in my head, whenever I saw an intern get paid, like, because we're still young, I think most of us could still could intern for jobs or whatever. But like at Honeywell, my dad's ex-company used to be a rocket scientist, and he used to work for Honeywell. And Honeywell had paid internship. You know, they had paid interns, people there to learn whatever on school dime or whatever. And I think they got tax write-offs for it or something like that too. But the problem is like, where are these interns even working? Are they like social media managers? Like, the problem is, if you're an intern and you're working for these organizations for free, social media people don't have, at least when you're tweeting for social media accounts, they just don't have that much like money coming in, I suppose, for them, you know? So why are these people hiring social media people, like interns and stuff like that, to do this kind of stuff, you know? I mean, I don't know.
Do they still really like give zero value to the, or even negative value
No.
to the company though?
You're right. Yeah, they don't. They give value by tweeting and by bringing in money that way. You know, you're right.
But like in this case, it was the position was called a player manager intern for League of Legends.
Oh, that is
Um,
that is a strange role.
I don't know what that means. I guess it's probably just like assisting with like, I don't know how the players are doing, or like
Is that like their coffee
setting up
guy?
thing.
Is that their fucking water boy?
I don't know. Like
Oh,
this is vague, and who knows what it is, because if it's just an intern, they're obviously not really managing things, right? Unless
No.
they're just like following an actual manager.
yeah. How are you an intern manager? That doesn't make any fucking sense. Does that make
Well,
any sense at all?
No.
I mean, if in like big jobs and stuff like that, I can see it, because you're just like following around the manager, and I guess that would be seen as an intern.
But
But
what?
In
Now
the
what-
case of esports, I don't know what happens there.
No, that would be an intern to the manager, right? That's not being the actual player manager intern. That's two different things, isn't it?
It's
Well,
kind of the
I guess
same.
that's what's happening here, maybe.
That's like the weird, like, I don't know, bro. Like the role itself to me is kind of strange. Like the role itself being a player manager intern, those two things fucking collide. That role in that other role, those don't mesh, right? Like that's not a fucking thing.
In the Atlanta rain, did you have like any people in the mansion or anything who like worked for the team? And you were
Everybody-
like,
no.
What is your job here?
Everybody got paid. Everybody got paid. There was no, and well, yeah. Like there was. I mean, some of our social media guys, like I mentioned, how we're like there's a player versus social media guy, like kind of prospect going on. Like that kind of always a thing. Is like you're like, oh, what the fuck, you know? I don't know. I shouldn't delve into this too much because I like it's going into other people's jobs or whatever are a little bit different. Like everybody had their own jobs, you know what I'm saying? But like one of the guys in the house, literally just I don't even know like. I don't know, bro. Like, I think everybody got paid. Everybody had a specific job, but it was just social media people. Like, social media jobs are some of the most interesting to me, dude. Like, social media jobs, I think, are A, the most underappreciated, and B, also the most overvalued in the entire, like, esports scene. It's like, it's either one or the other. You know, it's like, there's a battlefield for that specifically because there's, like, so much, like, variation between everything, like, what somebody does for an organization, that it's tough to really put a value on like a social media manager or whatever. But player intern manager is different, bro. That's just weird. I don't know.
Yeah, it sounds like a pretty small role,
I think
especially
what
if they're
Patrick
looking
said
for
is pretty
like
good.
college kids with 20 hours a week. That's
yeah.
actually that's kind of a big like asking though for an unpaid internship, 20 hours a week. That's
Yeah.
for
That
a
is
college kid even.
no, yeah. That's if you're getting an intern to do like I think what Patrick said is pretty reasonable. You know, like what Patrick says. He was like, you know, if somebody is doing a job that could be done by a paid employee, then they should probably get paid. I think that's reasonable. I think that's a reasonable take if they're doing a job that a paid person would get paid doing. You know, I think that's pretty reasonable. I think. I don't think you can disagree with that.
Yeah.
Oh.
And esports is like I guess like a relatively smaller industry too. So I don't know. These internships could help them get into the scene that way.
Yeah, but
They should be paid.
The tough part is because like Thor mentioned, like esports is still super fucking like new and stuff. Like it's only recently started to develop and get more involvement into that. Like a lot of people, like I think you mentioned, like people wouldn't get paid for years and years and years. You know, does that also mean that somebody in the modern era shouldn't get paid because these guys didn't get paid for years and years and years? You know, it's like as time develops. Yeah, I don't think so. I mean, I kind of agree with that. That's like, okay, no, he probably should get paid in the modern era for that kind of shit. You know, it's like, oh, my dad beat me when I was a kid and I turned out okay. You know, it's like, okay, does that mean every parent should fucking beat their kid? Probably not. Probably fucking not. Probably shouldn't fucking beat your kid, you know? Who would have thought? I don't know. That's a little bit different. It's kind of on a similar guidelines, though. You know, it's like, oh, just because I went through it doesn't mean that you should have to go through it, too.
Yeah,
it's reasonable. Yeah. But speaking about apes we talked about earlier, since we were talking about gorillas, Team Monkey Business got signed by OG, which, if you guys don't know, Team Monkey Business is a VALORANT team with AKM, Unco, Onibi, Tavik, and Element, and head coach Bayman, which Bayman used to be head coach of Team Dallas Fuel. But AKM and Unco used to play for Dallas Fuel. Also, were on Team Rogue and stuff like that in Overwatch. Overwatch pros on top of Onibi, which is like a top up and coming player. He's like he really hasn't competed in any games before, but he's young and he's apparently popping off, you know. And then also Elements from Counter-Strike. So there was recently a video done by OG where AKM was sitting there interviewing, talking about his teammates, talking about the team, talking about OG, talking about their actual rise to fame. And this is not Optic Gaming for people that don't know. This is actually just called OG. Like their actual I don't know what their actual. I think people always speculated what OG stands for. I think No Tail has talked about it since he's part owner of OG. But I think he's talked about it before. I don't know what OG even stands for. If somebody could find that, I don't remember actually what he said. I think that it's like up to interpretation, though. But it's like the same brand as Optic Gaming except different. You know, it's the European version of it, I suppose. It's not the same company. It's not the same organization at all. Basically, it's a player-made organization made by No-Tail and his crew, and they made this organization years ago and got it sponsored by Red Bull. So their logo actually has Red Bull in the top of their logo. Like their logo says OG, and then it says Red Bull right above it, and it's like in the Red Bull blue and red and whatever colors, which is kind of funny. It's kind of interesting because AKM, one of the players on this roster, also is sponsored and was sponsored by Red Bull in the past. He's one of Red Bull's only, like, I think, players, esports players. They've got a couple. But Red Bull doesn't really go out their way sponsoring players and stuff like that. But they sponsored AKM. And they signed Monkey Business. OG signed Monkey Business. This is great because people were doubting them. This is why you don't look at social media when you're a pro player, guys. Is because people, at least I saw on the Reddit threads, people are like, oh, yeah, Baby Bay's good. Corey's good, Sinatra's good, and then everybody else is bad. You know, that's what like the general consensus was on Reddit. That's what the general consensus was in the community, is they were kind of sleeping on these players in Team Monkey Business. But now AKM, Unco, and Tavik from Overwatch are doing well in Valorant. You know, they placed in the main event after the first qualifier, and they're passing with fucking soaring fucking wings. You know, they're actually doing goddamn well in Valorant. You know, it's awesome to see. You know, listen, I've had my beef with Unco in the past, but I can be happy for him in this situation. This is fucking sick. You know, these guys are a little bit older on the scale. They're like 25, 26, 27. You know, I think 25 is actually more of the actual range they're in. But they've made it. You know, they're here. They made it past the qualifier. They're in the main event now, and now they just have to perform under OG. They're actually getting sponsored after grinding their ass off for a long-ass time, you know? They've been in here since beta, and they're finally fucking making their debut. You know, they're finally doing well. And to be honest, I think we can just be happy for them. You know, despite all the doubters, despite all the people that didn't believe in them, they're actually at the top of EU Valorant right now. You know, that's pretty fucking sick in my opinion. I don't know about you guys, but that's I'm happy for them. You know,
Yeah.
good for them, bro. Good for them. Hope Team Monkey Business can perform well in Valorant EU. But
I just really
all
enjoy
right.
the name.
Yeah, they had a pretty good name. Now it's Team OG, so it's a little bit different of a name, isn't it? Yeah, it's a little bit different of a name.
Wish
Can't
they
be an
got Monkey
organization.
Business.
Yeah, you can't do that if you're trying to get. I don't think you can be Team Monkey Business like as an organization, esports. I don't think it would work.
Someone
right.
should do it.
Somebody should do it. You know, somebody should. No, actually, and probably would fail. It'd probably flop instantly, bro. There's no way. There's no fucking way. All right, we have our guest today, guys. We'll bring him in here. We'll get him ready to go. But our guest today is a man who's the general manager of an Overwatch League team, specifically the Washington Justice, one of the most hyped up teams coming into this year. I present to you, Pre. What's going on, Pre? How you doing, buddy?
Oh.
How you doing, dude?
Hey, I'm doing great. How are you guys?
Good, bro. You just chilling, having a good day?
Yeah, no, just kind of basking in one of my first days where I'm not kind of stressing out over who's our next signing going to be. We officially announced.
Oh yeah, thank God.
This is the roster that we're riding into 2021 with. So we're happy
Nice.
about it, and I'm breathing a little easier.
Well, I saw that you made a tweet. You were like the family. That Family Guy tweet, by the way, that meme is one of the best memes I've ever seen. It's the one where it's like, I just want to talk to him. Just want to talk to him. Load shotgun, fucking walks up. It's like, I just want to shoot him. Just want to shoot him. Because I was kind of harsh on you guys in the beginning, but I didn't actually look at the roster. I mean, what was going through your head when you saw, you know, those old reactions or people kind of doubting Justice in the beginning?
Yeah, I mean, we had a hill to climb, right? We as a team have one of, if not the worst overall records in the Overwatch League. And we've put in our time. I know one of the things that is very true to your story is that like you had to grind to get to the Overwatch League. I know you like to kind of focus on those guys. That put in the time. And I think that that's kind of what the Justice had to do. We had to learn most of our lessons the hard way. And so when people kind of get used to seeing a team that even when we had like our spike of really great performance with Corey and Stratus at the end of the season before last, or when we kind of had our great playoff run at the end of last season, people haven't seen a consistent, strong Justice yet. So I think that they're just not. It's it's healthy skepticism. It gives up some room for people wrong.
Yeah, because you're the third general manager in this organization over the course of what? It's been 2 years only now, and they've kind of had some changes throughout the years as well. And it's come from, because I mean, obviously the Washington Justice has gone from like a Western roster to then a mixed roster, and then now to a Korean roster, and that's kind of where the Overwatch League is trending towards, right? Is it like, because I don't know if you took over did you take over when the team was still a mixed roster? When Corey was still here?
Yeah, I did, and it all happened at once. We had what I kind of look back on and call like a healthy implosion now, where Corey went to Valorant, and I think that makes tons of sense for him. For people that don't know, right, his background way back when was CSGO. He has always been like a really strong
aimer,
aimer mechanical player, and so I think this was really healthy for him. He wasn't a happy guy when the meta was like, okay, like take these really mechanically strong players and put them on Mei, put them on Brig, right? Like that just made it not the game for him. So he left, and then in short order, Stratus left, and then that whole season we were fighting tooth and nail to get Lulzish into the market, and we weren't able to do that. And so I took over. And so I took over with what was supposed to be like a mixed 4 Korean player, 4 Western player roster. We lost 3 of our Western players, and then that very week is when Vancouver dropped their entire roster. So as a GM, I was like, over half the team, or like the majority of the team, is now Korean, and debatably the best Korean team in the league just put all of their players into free agency.
Imploded.
So that was, it wasn't something like we were sitting there, we were saying like, oh, like, the only way to be a good team is to go full Korean. It just kind of was that happened to be how the cards fell. And then on top of that, we had Supreme, who I still think is like the most underrated coach in the Overwatch League. It's insane how like.
Why is that? What does he do, you think?
I mean, so this was like also there's a lot of things that really worked well for us, and why this season I'm so optimistic about it. And it's because Supreme's big thing is getting everybody onto the same page, which sounds super simple and sounds super like soft skilly, and like, oh, you want a coach that like everyone memes Krusty when like there's like a rumor that he's plat, and everyone's like, oh, how can a like Overwatch League coach not be like a top 500 player? And you really don't need to be like in very in like who goes and watches a football game and they're like, ooh, but can he throw the ball 40 yards? Like, what are you talking about? Like that there's no correlation between that. And I think that that's the thing with Supreme, is that what he does, he just can get the best out of players. He just can just watch what they're doing, and just incredibly gently too. Like, he doesn't need to, like, I've never seen him have to like sit down and confront a player. He just can get on their level and get on their same page instantly, and just kind of like guide them in the right direction. He's like a beautiful mentor for players. And that's
really
part of why, and that's part of why, like, I think when people were looking at the Justice, even before we signed Assassin, they really didn't understand like our coaching staff and why we were excited about it. And the thing that I was like saying to people when they were talking to me, I was like, do you guys like believe in our roster? And they were like, yeah, like you signed Fury, you have Decay. And I was like, do you think these players are stupid? Like, do you think they looked at our team and they were like, oh, these coaches are stupid, so like, oh, well, I guess we'll go to the Justice. Like, no, these players are geniuses. And like they sat down, and whenever we were trying them out, it was an interview for us as much as them, because they would sit there and they would see like how the coaches were like adjusting them in scrims and how they were directing them. And that's kind of a big part of how we got our rosters. I think the players believe in the coaches too.
Yeah, you can tell when somebody's kind of stupid in tryouts and stuff like that. Like, if you're going into a tryout and you can like you're just like playing the game, and you're like, you hear this coach like, oh guys, make sure you're playing safe, make sure you're holding the W key here. It's like, okay, man, why are you in this Overwatch League tryout as a coach, bro? You don't even know how to coach yourself, dude. Like, Jesus Christ, you know. So I mean,
you were in
makes
it.
sense.
I was like, you were in it. You know that like the coaches in the Overwatch League run the gambit from really useful to really not. Like, yeah.
It's very easy to get run out as a coach because you can easily fuck it up. But I mean, and on top of that, you guys managed to grab, a really great player in Decay. And I know you took a big part in that, took a big chance on him, to be honest, because of everything that happened with Dallas Fuel. And it kind of worked out with you guys at the end of the year, right? I mean, how do you feel like Decay's doing in this current roster, and how is he kind of I guess, recouped his reputation now that he's on maybe a team that he wants to play for a little bit more.
Yeah, that was a really rough situation. I think we obviously we had to do our own research and make sure that kind of what was being put out there into the public as far as like, oh, he's not playing ranked, he's not trying in scrims, he's just playing Valorant. And like I sat down with him and when we talked with him, none of that. Like I didn't feel any of that. And I think it's one of those situations. And again, part of why we understood it is we had a mixed roster, so we understood the tensions that come from two different cultural views of how to approach the game versus like some people kind of view the game as a job and some people view the game as a game. And my guess is that Decay, like he looks at it, he approaches the game very professionally, like a true professional. And you can see how when someone's at the top of their game and they approach it that way and somebody else isn't approaching it that way, over time, you can rub people the wrong way. So I think for us, we never had to sit down and have any type of conversation about changing how he acted or what he was playing. I don't think people that were paying attention, I don't think he has like a reputational loss that he has to recoup. And if there was, like, seeing him just farm people on Zarya probably just
it makes
like
up
that probably did more of an improvement to his reputation than like him coming out on social media and being like, oh, I'm really trying hard. Like people saw it, like, okay, he's still great and he just needed to be in the right situation.
Yeah, well, because you mentioned how there's like always like there's a potential cultural shift and a cultural difference between Koreans and Western players, and unless you have like a really talented coach, like an insane coach like Krusty or whatever, it's really hard to make these mixed rosters work.
Oh yeah.
And then, well, can you touch on? I know this might be too much, but can you touch on a little bit of why the mixed roster didn't really work out for Justice in the very beginning? Like why Corey and Stratus and the Western crew maybe would have clashed with the Korean side, like why did you think that happened?
Yeah, it's so like there's kind of like there's the macro things that I mentioned, which I think this is at least present on every iteration of like the Justice, and from my experience, people I've talked to, it's true for every mixed team that there are just different, like I said, different approaches to the game. Like that in and of itself is not really able to push you as close to the edge as our team got, and I do think that where things really kind of went off the rails for us is that we never truly kind of got behind one leader. And so what kind of ended up happening is like a lot of the Western players would say, okay, we all want to play the game this way, and we're going to like really tune in on what this person is saying. And then a lot of the Korean players would do that for kind of a different game plan. And I think eventually I'm gonna have to get this on a t-shirt, because I think I say this in every single one of my interviews, but like my big thing for Overwatch is there are like 50 correct ways to play Overwatch, and the only like wrong way to play it is differently. And so we would have this problem where like the kind of Korean contingent of our team would say, we want to do this. The Western contingent would say, we want to do this. And either plan is good, but both people or both groups just do what they want to do. And then we look like crap because no one's on the same page. And then,
right. Oh, that makes sense. Yeah, that makes total sense. And considering, like you mentioned, Overwatch is like, there's no right way to play. There's better ways to play, sure. But there's obviously, there's no direct wrong way to play the game. I think you're right in that statement for sure.
Especially at the pro level, like no one's gonna like play stupid crap strategies. It's like it's even
everyone's there for a reason.
Yeah, like and once you're locked into a meta, even like the nuances are so subtle. Like, oh, like we should like rush here versus here. And again, like at that level, either plan works. But when the team splits 3-3, it looks like glorified ranked play. It's like, what are we doing out here?
Yeah. Well, and now your current iteration of the Justice and the current roster has probably one of the most talented DPS lineups in the entire Overwatch League. I think people would say you have now. You have Tuba, you have Decay, you have Jerry, and you now have Assassin. And recently, you just signed Assassin over the weekend. You said you wanted to delay the interview until you got him. Why did you guys specifically look at Assassin to pick him up for this roster to round it out for your 4 DPS lineup?
Yeah, so when we had like our first iteration of the roster without Assassin, we knew that we wanted to have one more player, but we wanted to run through some scrims first. So we went through a couple of weeks of scrims. We got some really strong, high quality scrims. Our team is still in Korea, so a lot of the teams are there. We were really happy with that outcome. And we just looked at the scenarios we were running into where if we lost a map or a push, or really just like if anything happened that we weren't happy with, and the coaches kind of step back and we would say, okay, is this something that we can coach better? Is this something that we can improve? Something that'll go away with a hero balance or a meta change? And really the only kind of corners that we ended up backing ourselves into were really specific hero matchups on DPS, where we would just we found ourselves having to take somebody off of like a comfort pick and put them onto like a fill pick. So like an example is like this has never happened and this will never happen, so I don't mind saying it. But like if there was like a Reaper Widow, that's not even like a good example. Like essentially like a meta that takes someone like Decay off of what he's great at.
Hero.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Like a Decay or like taking Decay off of a Widow or a Tracer and putting him onto like a Reaper or a May, right?
Yeah.
If he can do that, can he still be like a top 3 hero in the league at that? Yes. But would we rather have him on like a hero where he can be the best in the league? Absolutely. And so yeah, we kind of had like these corner scenarios where we were like, we really wish we had, and like Assassin's just fantastic at kind of like the rush DPS, very like you really have to like understand what's going on around you. So like Reaper, May, Sombra, his Echo is great. So yeah, I think it's
like Libero almost.
Yeah. Like there's like a whole class of DPS players. Like everyone was thinking like Libero, Rascal, Assassin. There's kind of like a whole class of it's kind of like the most flexible of the flex. There's like the basic flex DPS, which I think a lot of people think of as like your Hanzo and double sniper, your Asher, your McCree, if you have your like main hit scan on Widow. And yeah, I think very, very few DPS combinations I think are going to throw the team. I think we basically kind of have divided the whole DPS hero pool up and feel really good about like whatever the meta is, we know who's going to play, and they'll play it well.
Well, you mentioned Rascal, and a lot of people were very much like his fans pretty much over the course of the offseason. We've seen a lot, and you probably saw me ranting about it yesterday. But specifically with Rascal, he has a lot of people after him. Were you guys interested in him coming this year? Because obviously he hasn't found a team for Overwatch League just yet.
Yeah. We looked at. I think I said on like one of my tweets or something like. We had I think one of the best things about the Justice has been that our tryout and our scouting process I've always been really proud of. I don't think we've always been able to convince the players that we kind of at the end of the process wanted to come to the Justice. I think that changed for us this year. But there were very few players that actually I think there were no players that we wanted to try out that we couldn't. So we looked at a lot of players. I think the things that really stood out to us about Assassin were that we definitely don't think he's hit his ceiling yet. We saw what he did in Contenders. We talked to a lot of people that have worked with him, and we think that there's still a lot of room to grow. I think the other thing that, and this almost kind of comes back to our conversation about Western and Korean rosters. I think just understanding when to kind of give and take and when to lead and follow is really important. And if you look at our team, like Decay is going to be a leader in the DPS side of things a lot. He's a very strong player. He just understands the game at a really high level. And a lot of kind of building this team is looking at how can we make sure that everyone is enabling each other. And Assassin, it just fit. Like, and that's the thing. It's not like a player that we didn't sign isn't a good player or they're a bad player or like there's like attitude issues or like injury history. Like I can't really think of us ever looking at someone and just like outright denying them for any of those reasons. It's just just came down to fit, which is a lame answer, right? It's like there's not a lot of juice there.
no, that makes sense. That makes total sense because obviously fit matters more than anything. And then usually, especially in Overwatch League now, like you have to be able to kind of play everything. And Rascal does, but it's like it's at the same time, it's like what is he actually best at? People still have their best heroes, even if they're as flexible as possible. And maybe there's some overlap there for sure. And well, now you guys are touted as a top 3 team in the West and probably in Overwatch League, at least top 5 for sure. How do you feel that? Yeah, how do you feel about those expectations, and how do you feel about that kind of the hype behind you guys this year coming into 2021 Overwatch League?
That's new for us, right? It's always been like we come into the season.
Must be a good feeling, yeah.
Yeah, it's good, and it's I don't want to say bad, but like it's easier to kind of.
No, I know what you mean. Yeah,
I was gonna say it's easier to come in as an underdog, but even that's not true because I think a lot of people in the Overwatch League have said this, and it's so true that like. You learn how to lose, and you when you start expecting that you're going to lose or expecting that you're going to get like beat pretty badly, like it's over, like it's real bad. So I'm kind of excited that we're hyped on ourselves and that our fans are hyped for us. I think we definitely have the pieces there, and as you mentioned, like I'm the 3rd general manager of this team. We've gone through just as many head coaches and really as many visions for this roster. And I think that turnover has made it really difficult for us to get solid footing. And so
Oh yeah.
I think we'll see. I think like the only period that I'm worried about is maybe like at the very, very beginning. One of the things that people really undervalue is the synergy that teams have. So the teams that have been playing together for a long time, they can figure out metas much more quickly because they know where their teammates are just going to be. And that's something where we're going to have a little bit of ground to catch up on, getting everybody on the same page. You know, it's basically a brand new roster.
Yeah.
But looking at, I mean, you know, scrimbucks and whatnot, looking at the way the team is playing right now, it's really selfless, which you love to see. Like, I don't know if you're a big basketball fan or anything, but like peak Warriors
Yeah, I am.
basketball, where like even if you have like 5 all-stars on the court, I think there's like one play like with the Warriors where like someone had the ball and they were like it was when they had Klay Thompson, Steph Curry, and Kevin Durant, which like for people that don't know are like 3 of the best pure shooters in like basketball history. And I think
Yeah.
Draymond Green, another guy on their team, had the ball, and all 3 of them were pointing to the other person. Like Steph was pointing at Klay was pointing at Durant, and Durant was pointing at Steph because they were like, he was looking for the pass. And they were all like, oh, pass it to him. And that's like the kind of team that we have right now, where we have some just crazy talented guys. And like I would be worried if they were just like slapping people around in scrims, saying like, oh, you know, enable me, like heal me, pocket me. But I think we also have like a really nice selfless roster that are doing a good job of putting each other first. So I'm excited.
Yeah. Well, in coming into the offseason, you guys were, like you mentioned, you were trying to go for more of a synergy vibe and stuff like that rather than just signing the best players. But it also kind of worked out that way, right? Like you kind of did get some of the best players on their roles. And I think specifically with your guys' supports, the people have been, you know, I guess not as high on them, like, to be honest. Like closer is insane. I think that's kind of what, you know, it's kind of cool that, you know, the worst player in your team, quote unquote, worst player in the team is Bebe. Bebe is still pretty solid, right? I mean, how do you feel about the criticism maybe specifically on the Justice supports? Do you think it's warranted or not?
I don't think so, right? And I think a lot of people picked up on this when we signed Assassin. Like a lot of people were saying like, oh, you know, the Justice, we blew our budget on Mag, Fury, Decay, and so we couldn't sign another support. Like that was never the case, right? We wanted to take some time. And as we went through our scrims, Bebe and Closer were very, very strong. And I'm actually really happy that you and I are talking, because I wanted to pick your brain a little bit on this, because I have like my whole theory on like how Overwatch supports work. And Atlanta was actually a perfect example before you left, where my kind of theory is an S tier support isn't necessarily someone that is S tier on one hero. It's someone that's like A tier across all of them, because when you start swapping supports out, you lose like that synergy that we talked about. Like you lose that opportunity to just kind of understand where people are. So even if like the meta changes month to month, and this happened with us. This happened with Tuba and Stratus. This happened our first season with Sleepy and Guido, where let's say we have one whole stage where like Stratus's hero pool is meta, and he plays that whole stage. And then the next stage, what would have been Tuba's hero pool is now meta. But the problem is Stratus has been scrimming like all of the pro scrims and all the like the like 70% of like the real scrims that matter the previous month.
Yeah.
So even though Genji and Tuba in a vacuum, maybe like his Genji, for example, is like 5-10% better than Stratus, if Stratus is just on it and has just been scrimming the whole month, Tuba's not going to be able to, he's not going to be able to like to scrape that back. And we feel like it's the same way with supports. And I wanted to ask you, like at Atlanta, because you guys had, it was Masa, Fire, you, and LR1. Was that?
Yeah, Iris. Yeah.
Yeah, Iris. Oh yeah, it was halfway through. It was like wrong spelled, right? Yeah.
Yeah, it was halfway through the year. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's like one of those things where I don't like your subs didn't really play, did they? Like
no. Yeah, it's tough, man. I mean, because first of all, I mean, yeah, there's mechanical ability for sure, but it's also like it depends on the like for sure. If somebody's better than another character, it depends. Like supports are kind of tough, you know, because because like you have to, at least when you're playing, like the playstyle between Ana and the playstyle between Zen and Baptiste are like pretty vastly different, to be honest. Like it depends, it changes on meta, obviously. And I mean, that was like my biggest issue is that I didn't really adapt. Like I was still solid on like, for example, my Ana was probably my best character, but I was still solid on like Zen. Like Zen was probably also one of my best characters. However, like it depends. Like Zenyatta is played totally different in a meta where you have to just hold W on goats, for example. That Zenyatta is totally different than Zenyatta playing in
dive
or sniper meta or whatever, right? So there's a play style difference. There's a mechanical difference. There's a lot of different shit to look at for sure. And then changing out supports especially is probably a constant you want, right? Like you probably always want Violet to be in the game. You probably always want Moth to be in the game just because of their impact directly, even if they're not mechanically skilled on those characters specifically, like you mentioned.
And if you're going to rely on and like where they fit into shot calling and ult tracking, and do you want like what if your kind of Ana Zen off flex support is like a really vocal, really like accurate ult tracking flex support, and then your kind of BAP, maybe Brig or whatever, like flex support is just like dead silent. Now your entire team has to spend the next month reworking whose job is this now for what, like a 5% increase at like this the mechanical skill of the hero maybe. And I think that like Closer and Baby, the best thing they have going for them is that they can play knock on wood, we'll see how the meta and the hero balances and whatnot happens, but we think that they can play every support in the game at a high level. And so what this gives us is like consistency at that role. And then what we opted for instead was getting depth in the DPS role, where in my opinion, there is a big enough difference in DPS where even if Decay hasn't been playing for a month because we've been on something else, even if he's totally silent, his Widow is good enough that you just slot it in, because there's no amount of synergy that like a good Widow can make up on Decay, even if he doesn't have that, you know what I mean? And that doesn't really feel true to me at the support role. That like at the support role, there is like the synergy matters a lot. And I think that we'll see. Scrims have looked strong.
Like tanks almost.
Yeah, and the same with like tanks. Yeah, I think that most teams kind of figured out that having the most depth at DPS, where the mechanical roles vary the most, matters. And it's anecdotal, but if you look at a lot of the previously really strong teams, there wasn't a lot of support subbing going on. It was like these like Goose and Shaz, Moth and Violet, just like kind of duos of support that were just like, whatever, the meta changes, but like we'll figure it out.
Yeah. No, I agree with you on that for sure. I mean, in specifically with your guys' team, now you have that, like we mentioned, that well-rounded roster. And obviously coming into 2021, you guys are pretty hyped up. You guys have a lot of expectations. But I wanted to know, I know this is a little bit of a change of topic, but I wanted to know what your specific expectations are coming into the 2021 season. Is it a grand finals? Is it the whole thing, the whole shebang?
That's risky. That's risky call for me to make as the GM. I think the way that I pitched this roster.
David said this. David said he's gonna win the chip, bro. He said it. The LA Gladiator said it. You know,
I think the way that I pitched the roster that I wanted to make was Overwatch League has historically been an esport where what you want is to make the playoffs. I think that we proved last year that like the next part of that statement, it's like what you want is to make the playoffs and then get lucky. Like the fact that we have now basically every season decided to push through a patch that has resulted in a major change in meta, that has resulted in like a big upheaval of the standings, means that I think we can perform in most metas. I think we can definitely make the playoffs and we can make a run at it.
All right.
I would be disappointed at anything less than we did last year, right? So we finished third NA last year. I think we can do that and better, just on paper, and we'll see how things go through the season.
I mean, for sure, like especially like this is no diss at you guys last year. I was incredibly happy with how you guys adapted last year. Actually, that was what I wanted us to play, that like Roadhog stuff as well, like towards the end of the year, in the playoffs. But I mean, obviously, like it depends on like. You can think your team is as good as possible. Anybody can think your team is as good as possible. But if any team that is good at a certain meta, if they get their meta, they could just fucking pop off. And that's like more true in Overwatch than I think in any other game. Is like, sure, a team will be great. A team can be good or whatever. Like Shock will probably be good at every meta. That doesn't mean that they'll be necessarily the best team at every different meta. Like you could just get a meta where this team is absolutely fucking nuts at a specific, hero combination, right? Like you can absolutely just randomly get that one meta. You can play crack, like you can play shit the whole year. But if you get the right meta at the end of the year, fuck it, you're in the play. Like it doesn't matter what you've done the whole season, right? What matters is what you do in the playoffs. And as long as you do well there, then regardless of what happens during the season, that's what matters most, right?
Yeah. And obviously, like last year, like I wanted to do well, right? Like we were doing our COVID test because we wanted to get on the flight and go to Korea for the final. But if you look
Yeah.
at the 4 teams that did make the final, they were the teams that performed in every meta, right? Shock,
Yeah.
Fusion, Seoul, Shanghai. Like, and that's the thing. Like, people were upset when we beat Paris. I think that was probably the most kind of backlash that we got because they were the 3 seed, we were the 12 seed. People were like, "Oh, Paris deserved to go to the finals." But
Oh,
the thing is,
no, yeah.
like Paris got pretty lucky in the regular season. Like the
Yeah.
Genji meta that they were able to build their regular season record on was great,
Yeah.
but there were also certain metas where they were not a good team. And I think that the
Yeah,
4
people
teams,
overrank them.
yeah, and so the 4 teams that got to the finals, I was actually really happy with because that to me was like that reinforces what the Overwatch League is supposed to be about. That like
True.
that kind of tore down the meta because even if we had made it, like I selfishly wanted to make it, but I do think that if we had made it, there like people would have like burned it down. People would have been pretty upset that like, oh, this team.
Well, that's what happened to. Well, no, that's what happened to Seoul, though. To be honest, that is kind of what happened to Seoul. Is like people are like, oh, Seoul got their meta. It's like people kind of underlooked them because of that, right?
Yeah.
And like you mentioned with Paris, like people overrated Paris not because they're not a bad team by any means. It's just they had fucking Sparkle on Genji, and that guy is the best Genji in the goddamn game. I don't think anybody can say otherwise. He's just that good on certain characters like Doomfist, like Genji. And you can't necessarily take that away from them. But it's like one of those things. It's like some people can just get their metas and win tournaments or whatever throughout the whole year. But guess what? Like you mentioned, that won't end up. There's a chance in the playoffs you won't get that meta, right? And then you'll just lose to one of the better teams, right?
Yeah, then it comes down to coaching and flexibility and these other things that, again, like I was really happy with last year's Final Four. That to me, I was torn because as a lot of the decisions and a lot of my reactions to the game have to be balanced by the fact that I'm a GM. And so while I want my team to do well, I want them to do well in a way that's sustainable for the league. And because like if the league is gone, then my team is gone, and then my job and the enjoyment that I get from it are gone. And so like that's how I talk to people about like budget rosters and stuff as well. And people come to me and they're like, "Oh, what do you think about budget rosters?" My kind of moderately hot, my lukewarm take on budget rosters is if budget rosters start like popping off and just like beating these like kind of larger rosters, and then everyone goes budget rosters, Overwatch League dies because then all of the star esports athletes don't want to go into Overwatch anymore because they're not going to get paid. They're going to get put through like a revolving door of talent, and so they go somewhere else. And people stop watching Overwatch League because all of the big personalities and players are going somewhere else. So I understand like the budget approach, and like every league has to have that. But you want there to be like a reward for developing and in some cases buying talent. Like that incentive has to be there.
I definitely agree. I think that was a large part of the reason that I decided to take a step back and do something else, is just because I was like, okay, Overwatch League specifically, like a lot of the teams that I could potentially go to are, going more budget or whatever. And it's like, is that really something I want to get myself involved into as a player?
Of work.
Probably not.
It's kind of like when you were talking about unpaid internships before this. It's like,
oh yeah, true.
Like it's not. I don't think it's a healthy sign of an industry to underpay people for like what they're worth.
No, yeah,
like we talked about when we were DMing on Twitter. I'm happy you're still in the league because that's the other side of that coin, is that, or at least you're still reporting on the league, is that the Overwatch League needs personalities, and we've had some ups and downs. Like there's been like some really cool stories, some really cool people. I think the competition level of this upcoming season of Overwatch League is going to be the best we've ever seen. Like if you look how deep the West is, it's crazy. Like there's like 7 teams there.
Too,
like I'm terrified to play. I'm like, man, these are going to be really good teams. But yeah, I want there to be like storylines to go along with that. I want there to like people to focus not just on, oh, this team is good, they click heads well. I want them to be like, oh, this is a cool story. These guys are like building something cool here.
Well, so what team, because you mentioned the stories and stuff like that, and the storylines, and specifically, like, okay, I'm going to throw my opinion out there first, and then obviously I want yours. But like the matchup I'm looking forward to most for the Washington Justice is probably you guys versus the Houston Outlaws, actually. Just because, like, you can say Dallas Fuel or whatever,
right?
Because
Yeah, that's a cheap
Dallas
answer.
Fuel, but
they're all
like,
gone now. What's the point?
Yeah, Crimzo and Decay fucking hated each other. It seemed from the outside looking in, right? Like they did not like each other.
Words on Twitter.
So like personally, that's my favorite matchup. But what's your favorite matchup coming into the year for the Justice coming into this 2021 season? What's the one you're looking most forward to?
I'm still looking forward to playing the Shock, man.
Oh, yeah?
I still have not forgotten, in the playoffs when like we sat there and it was like the logical choice would be like other teams, then they picked us. And I was like,
oh
that feels a little personal. Like I feel like you could have gone with like a lot of other teams at this point, and we gave them a run for their money. Right? We had, I think, a really strong showing.
Was it a map 5 or?
I think so.
Was it map 5? I think
it was either 3-1 or 3-2, and we played well, right?
It
wasn't a stomping. It's what put us into the losers bracket,
yeah.
and we continued to play well there. Yeah, it's also, I mean, like I said, I don't want to jinx anything with where we're gonna finish in the season, but I think everyone, like, I don't know if you saw the GM poll, everyone thinks that the Shock are the team to beat, as they should, right? You win 2 years in a row, you're kind of you have the belt, right? And so that's what I'm looking forward to, because I think that's the level that we're on. Like, I think we're at the level where like teams like that are the ones like we need to be taking those matches seriously.
Yeah, I mean, I hope so. I mean, personally, I don't think Shock's gonna win just because you can't three-peat, bro. I mean, nobody can three-peat, bro.
That's hard. That's what I mean. We're talking about football, right? That's a lot of people were saying for the Chiefs. That was like when I was watching the Super Bowl, and they were saying like a repeat for the Chiefs would be the first repeat since Brady's Patriots, like way back when. I was like, really? Like no one's gone back to back in that long, and it's hard. It's hard to keep the commitment, the talent. Yeah.
I mean, I guess it's different in esports maybe a little bit because, I guess in traditional sports and football and stuff, you have to remain healthy. You have to there's a lot more stuff to it than just playing the game, I guess. Because I think Mahomes didn't even have his entire fucking O-line or whatever. But I guess
the Shock, they were paper. They were getting shredded. That was brutal.
Now they have, Shock, I think they lost Moth. Sure, like you mentioned, like talent retention. They didn't keep Moth. But did they need to keep Moth? They did get FD God now on their team, and FD God is arguably also on Moth's level for Lucio. So, it's like, who knows? Who knows where Shock's going to be? But I mean, so last question for you here, Priya. Did you used to be the manager analyst for NYXL? Is that true? Whatever. Yeah. So what was the transition like? One of our staff wanted to know what the transition was like specifically. I think Siren did, from changing from the analyst position, being an analyst in the Overwatch League and specifically in Overwatch in general, to then being a general manager. How was that transition, and what new roles do you have to do as a general manager, and like the differences?
Yeah, it's a big jump. So for me, I was kind of like an intern analyst at NYXL, and then I got promoted to like a lead analyst.
Did you get paid though?
I did, but it was not much. It was
okay, but still
a bigger pay cut than I ever want to take again in my life. But at the time, I was leading a kind of a toxic tech culture startup. And so it was like a mental health choice for me. And then
good.
Yeah, it was good. And then I'm personally really glad that I had the chance to kind of grind my way up. Yeah, from intern to analyst to assistant coach with Washington and eventually GM here. The jump from analyst to GM is much different, or was much different for me than the jump from coach to GM. Ever since I've kind of been managing players, player care has been a big part of my focus. And whether that's on like how I'm coaching and how I'm working with players, or how I'm like managing the team and how I'm selecting the players to be on the team, that's been very consistent. The jump from analyst was also for me, and we'll see how this year goes. It was a jump for me from working with NYXL on an all Korean team. So basically everything that I did had to go through Wizard, because I didn't speak Korean. So I would do like all of my analysis. I would work with Wizards analysts. Wizard Hyung was one of their assistant coaches at the time. And then he would kind of take all of the work that we did together and present that to the players. And then going to what I'm doing at the Justice, I was working directly with the players, with Corey and Stratus. And even when we had a mixed roster, it was a mixed roster where all of our Korean players spoke at least like fairly conversational English. So this next year is going to be probably the biggest challenge for me to either keep going in that role, or more likely, because the coaches that we hired, I think, are very good at what I was doing player care wise, kind of shifting more into this kind of straddling the business and the player side, which kind of works into contract negotiations and things like that. So it was a big shift from the analyst role. And I think this year,
that makes sense.
Yeah, I've enjoyed the role. I really enjoyed kind of doing the things we did last year. So I hope we can do it again this year.
Well, okay. Actually, I want to touch on one more question because of the fact you mentioned Wizard Young. Do you think that he gets a lot of unnecessary hate just because of the big brain memes or whatever? So people that don't know, basically Wizard Young he was the head coach of Justice at one point, right? Or was he?
Yeah, their inaugural season. Yep.
Yeah, people were hating on him for pretty much the past year, and he's kind of treated as a joke. Do you kind of what's your take on that? Do you have any? Because you obviously personally experienced with Wizard Young, you have personal experience with him, and you have that social interaction with him. Do you have any take on the hate that he's been getting over the past years?
Oh yeah, no, I have very strong opinions on this. Yeah. So
okay.
Wizard's really smart guy. Like he deserves like these. I don't know if he deserves the self-given typical genius title, but he's a very smart guy, right? He's not dumb. He understands the game at a really high level, and I think the best way, and I stand by this even now, the best way to know if a coach is any good, and you know this, is you just talk to the players. Like anybody else can like hear a coach or they can see them in an interview, but if the players are listening to the coach and the players who are already in like the top 0.001% of the world at their game, if they're going to take the time out of their day to listen to somebody else tell them how to play the game, then like the coach is worth something. So yeah, I think Wizard's great. He leaned into his persona in the same way that I know that like sometimes you do, and other people that are like really building like their public profile, they're like, oh, like people are going to kind of bite into my Cruz is a feeder, typical genius, whatever like brand I'm putting out. Like, sure, I'll double down on that. But like, yeah, I think Wizard got unnecessary hate. I don't know if it was like super hate. It's like it's almost like one of those things that Overwatch League needed, right? Like people need to take opinions, which is why like I liked memeing your take on the Justice. Like how boring would it have been if you gave the same take that like a lot of these people do in their rankings, where they're like, oh, the Justice is a good team on paper, but we haven't seen anything yet, so they could be a top 3, but who knows? Maybe they'll miss the playoffs. Like, come on, like which is kind of what I just did. So whatever.
But it's different. It's different. It's just because I mean, generally people want to take the community side on things, but for the most part, I don't think that's necessarily the right play. You should do what you obviously believe in what you want to put out there yourself. And I don't think that listening to the community is necessarily the best thing. I'm sure there's a lot of stuff you want to listen on. I'm sure if you're being a fucking dumbass or whatever, then sure, listen to the community. But at the same time, you can't really make your decisions based on somebody else's. That's just stupid. That's just dumb. But Pri, do you have any? Oh yeah. What are you saying?
I was saying people, the community starts having an opinion on them because they've often like stuck to their guns to get somewhere. And then the problem is when you abandon that to start listening to the community that you got because you were making your calls. So good for you on the show. I hope you keep sticking to your guns and.
Thanks, Pri.
Keeps going.
I appreciate it, man. Thanks for coming on. Do you have any? Do you have anything you want to plug real quick? By the way, before we let you go.
Sure. Yeah. So I'm going to get back into streaming. Go for it. One of the things that I really like as my role in GM is we've been trying to bring more transparency about what happens in the behind the scenes side of the Overwatch League. So I'll be streaming tonight, actually after your show, and hopefully for kind of Mondays going forward on Twitch. So if anyone wants to hear a little bit more about what's going on in the back end of the Overwatch League, pop in. Love to have you.
Yeah, dope. And that's at 7 p.m., right? That's at 7 p.m. PST?
It's going to be...
You said it was? Or...
So I'm shooting for 9 p.m. EST.
For 9?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, yeah. Well, tune in. Check that shit out. Thanks to the Washington Justice GM, Pri. Thanks for coming by, bro. Catch you later.
Thanks, man. It's great to be here.
All right, guys. That was Pri, dude. Awesome, dude. Nice to talk to him. Good chat, honestly. Great. He's always awesome to talk to, and talk about the Washington Justice specifically. I mean, I've been, a critical of his team, and he took it pretty great, honestly. It was nice to talk to him, and I'm glad he respects the opinion that I had, because for the most part, people are fucking doubters, people are goddamn doubters out there, and we gotta fucking shut them up, boys. We gotta shut them up with our monkey fists, our monkey fist. Yeah, like me, dude. Come on. All right, but yeah, I don't know. That was fun. That was a good interview. Thanks for tuning in today, guys. Even though it was Manic Monday and I wore a literal underwear for a hand, I'll do it again to just piss people off.
No.
Do it again. Hey, Manic Monday is over, guys. Thanks for coming to the show. Thanks for Pri for coming on, first of all. But thank you to Siren for being our production manager. Thank you to Daniel Toverto for being our director. Thanks to Samantha for being our research head. But everybody else here on the show that's live on camera sucks massive freaking cucumbers. Yeah, we'll see you guys later. And on that bombshell, catch you tomorrow for fucking, what is tomorrow? Ticking Time Bomb Tuesday, our guest. What's our guest, you may ask? What's our guest? We always leak
Who
the
is it?
guest before the show starts. Who's the guest, you may ask? Ah, fuck, I can't even show you who the guest is because I don't have it pulled
Oh,
up
it's a
because I'm a goddamn
surprise.
loser. It's a surprise. Look, cat, tune in tomorrow in the AMs to find out who it is. On that bombshell. See you guys tomorrow.
Goodbye.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
$25.
What? Say his name. Tayo. Yeah, he's a player for Shock.